It is recommended that the resignation/retirement of Jeff Satchok from the position of superintendent be approved effective July 31st, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Mrs. Powell?
Sadly, yes.
Mr. Benio?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes.
Motion carried. Sorry to see you go, but
Absolutely.
hope you're looking forward to your next
We're not happy about it.
segment in life.
You'll still be around for a while anyway. So.
That's good.
Good.
I know where you live.
Tell you guys.
I'll
It is-
hunt him down.
I make a motion that the Western Reserve School Board engages the services of the Mahoning County Educational Service Center to perform a limited search recruitment of candidates to fill the position of the superintendent of the Western Reserve School District starting with the 2016-17 school year. We would also like to accept internal resumes from candidates of superintendent certification. A special meeting is to be scheduled before the March board meeting that takes place to review resumes received and schedule potential interviews.
Motion? Second?
Second.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mr. Halls?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts? Yes. Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benio?
Yes.
That was updated. So that's CBA. File IGDJA, which is the drug and alcohol testing. There was really no change to that, but the components of it and all we're looking to change on that is we've gotten to where now the saliva oral swab is much more efficient, very little difference in cost. You don't have to worry about somebody saying, I can't go, drink more water, I can't go. Also, on the occasion that somebody tries to take something that kind of flushes their system, the oral swab is, at this point in time anyway, a little bit less conducive to that working that way. Wave your arms. So in several of those, IGDJA-R, which is the regulation, basically what you'll see in that is that any place that said urine, I added or saliva. And that was really the only changes, so that we had that carried out throughout. Informed consent, same thing. When we had student consent to a urinalysis, we added or saliva testing. And basically, those are the only changes for all of those consents. And actually, nationwide, water has been a big thing in the news. I put together a little water report for you. For 2015, I've got a list of what samples we're required to do for our school district. There's 10 samples taken for lead and copper. Has to be done between June and September. Do a quarterly bacteria sample every 3 months. Disinfection byproducts, because we do chlorinate, so we have to take a sample for that between July and September. Inorganic compounds, we do one sample tested in between June and October. There's 10 compounds that are tested, including I put some things you might have heard of: arsenic, cyanide, fluoride, mercury. That's tested for in that water. Volatile organic compounds. There's 25 different compounds they test. These are usually solvents, cleaning chemicals, chemicals that give off vapors. A lot of them are man-made cleaning types of things. Nitrates, one sample for nitrates, and that's linked to fertilizer and agricultural practices. And then the chlorine residual is tested daily at 2 locations here. Now, that's a test that I do, kind of using like a swimming pool chlorine type of thing. So, but the others all have to be tested at a lab, Cardinal Labs we use in Youngstown. Now, the lead and copper. I took a sample in September as required, took 10 samples throughout the building, 2 in the reserve building, 8 in this building. The samples have to be taken from a faucet or a fountain that has not been used for a minimum of 6 hours. So to try to meet as very close to that deadline, usually I have the janitors here at 11 o'clock making sure they're hitting the water fountains and the sinks, and then I come in about 6 o'clock and take the samples. The range for our lead the last time for those 10 samples ranged from BDL, which is below detectable limit. What that means is basically there wasn't even enough that this test would even show up anything, to 0.0071 parts per billion. Now, if you watched any of the news, Sebring and some of those places were up over 15 parts per billion. A way to look at that is if we had 1 billion gallons of water, 15 parts per billion would be 15 gallons of that 1 billion gallons. Our lead was at 0.007. That's maybe an ounce of water in Lake Erie. I mean, it's a very, very good. Copper's done at the same time. Our score or our readings range from 0.189 to 0.544, and again the action level for that is for copper is 1,350 parts per billion. We were less than a half a part per billion. So our lead and copper scores are very good. This is something I'm going to put into the newsletter next month too, just to let everybody know,
Good.
because it is.
Well, that's good,
And
yeah.
you know, my comment has always been to people is, I guarantee you, we test our well water here way more than probably any residential person in the community does.